Narcissists want us to hurt ourselves, but just do this, they are afraid of us. Everyone is welcome to join us today for another captivating segment. Let's dive right in. Today, I want to delve into the narcissist's sinister desire for your downfall. This has been their underlying objective from the start. No matter where you go, narcissists want it to seem like you've brought harm upon yourself intentionally. However, the truth is that the conflict was instigated by the narcissist, although they refuse to acknowledge this until it's too late. It's important to note that covert narcissists shun tasks that involve getting their hands dirty. They prefer to delegate unpleasant tasks to others. Understanding this, the concept of flying monkeys is crucial in grasping covert narcissists' behavior. Yet, their subtle mistreatment is aimed at driving you to the brink of madness. That's why I've created this video, to shed light on how narcissists seek to harm you without direct physical contact. When it comes to deception, narcissists excel at deflecting blame onto others, even in the absence of evidence. Their public image and facade of invincibility are paramount, driving them to operate in the shadows. As a result, narcissistic abuse can go unnoticed for extended periods. This covert warfare is difficult to prove. Victims need access to information and the ability to document conversations to expose inconsistencies or lies. Without intervention, narcissists will continue playing their game, where only their victory matters. To a narcissist, total destruction of another individual signifies triumph. Once the game begins, everyone puts on their best behavior. Toxic narcissists may initially appear helpful, but eventually they change the rules and reveal their true colors. They may subtly encourage you to engage in activities that go against your usual habits, or tempt you to regress into past behaviors you've worked hard to overcome. Narcissists are the type of people who would urge you to drink despite knowing your history of alcoholism. If you've struggled with substance abuse, associating with these individuals would be ill-advised. They would conspire to sabotage your progress and undermine your livelihood. They are threatened by your success and will go to great lengths to impede your advancement. Consequently, narcissists deliberately surround you with people who harbor animosity towards you, ensuring you are frequently exploited and mistreated. The narcissist's ultimate goal is to reduce you to the lowest emotional and mental state possible, as they have come to terms with their own inability to attain your level of perfection. They will stop at nothing to discredit or eliminate you. Trusting a narcissist can be emotionally draining and potentially hazardous. Prolonged exposure to their manipulative tactics can exacerbate negative effects, leading to health issues such as weight gain and mental fatigue. It's no secret what the narcissist's next move will be. They revel in our failures, so they will intensify their pressure. They take pleasure in witnessing our physical decline and delight in our succumbing to vices that tarnish our reputation and alienate us from them. Narcissists behave in this manner because they harbor self-loathing and envy towards your accomplishments. The narcissist could be anyone, from a family member like a parent, spouse, or sibling to friends, employees, or in-laws. This is because narcissists perceive personal relationships and family dynamics differently from the rest of us. They tend to view others as adversaries, especially if someone appears more popular or appealing than them. In such cases, the narcissist will relentlessly target that person, often making it seem as if they orchestrated the conflict alone. They may try to manipulate you into engaging in risky or foolish behavior, and then pretend to express concern about it behind your back. The cruelty of narcissists lies in their ability to manipulate others to ensnare their victims. However, their success in doing so only fuels their satisfaction. Inflicting pain on others brings them joy, and they meticulously plan their actions rather than leaving things to chance. They have likely been plotting against you for some time, with a well-organized strategy to cause you harm and deceive you. They may even meticulously plan your downfall, manipulating perceptions to shift blame onto you for any negative outcomes, even if you're not at fault and have no mental health issues. You made the choice to indulge in drinking or drugs, so the responsibility lies with you. Even when the narcissist appears to offer help, it's you who ultimately made the decision to end your life through suicide. This twisted outcome is exactly what the narcissist desires for all their victims. They aim to paint themselves as heroes who genuinely care about your well-being by causing you harm. But don't let this be the final chapter. Never grant a narcissist the satisfaction of branding you as self-destructive. Break free from their emotional grip by cutting all ties with narcissists. Recognize them for the self-serving individuals they are, and break away from their influence before it's too late. Regrettably, that's all I can cover in today's video. I sincerely hope you found this information enlightening. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, please do so in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to be notified of new videos. Wishing you all abundant blessings this week. Within each of us lies a natural longing to be seen, heard, and valued for our unique essence. Yet, what transpires when this longing mutates into an unhealthy fixation on ourselves? When we become so consumed with our own image that we're willing to deceive and injure others in the relentless pursuit of our desires. Regrettably, narcissistic tendencies encapsulate this moral quandary, and it's likely that we've all encountered someone who embodies such traits. If you've ever found yourself victimized by a narcissist, you comprehend the deep-seated anguish it can induce. But what if there existed a method to tilt the scales and inflict suffering upon them? Let me clarify, seeking vengeance is never an honorable path to tread. Nevertheless, there exist strategies one can employ to safeguard oneself and delineate healthy boundaries when entangled with a narcissistic individual. Below, I present 10 efficacious tactics for navigating the intricate terrain of relationships with narcissists. 1. Mastering the art of ignoring a narcissist can wield significant power in unsettling them. Their obsession with self-importance ignites fury when they encounter disregard. By employing a blend of direct and indirect indifference, such as ignoring their messages or refusing to let them infiltrate your life, you can yield favorable results. Through this act of disengagement, you chip away at their perceived dominance, rendering them powerless, their greatest dread. 2. Elevate yourself above their negative remarks and shield your self-esteem from their influence. Narcissists delight in cynically critiquing others, deriving twisted pleasure from dismantling their confidence. While it may prove challenging to remain impervious to their attacks, especially if your self-worth is fragile, it's vital to recognize that their criticisms reflect their own deep-rooted flaws and insecurities. 3. Cultivate self-assurance and confidence as a shield against narcissistic individuals. These characters tend to shy away from those radiating self-assurance and competence. Their modus operandi involves diminishing others to camouflage their own inadequacies. They seize every opportunity to criticize, striving to assert dominance. As your self-confidence blooms, their ability to influence or manipulate you dwindles. By questioning their baseless self-assurance or sense of superiority, you thrust them onto the defensive, making it substantially harder for them to ensnare you. Remember, navigating relationships with narcissists requires finesse and patience. The key lies in safeguarding your emotional well-being while adeptly establishing boundaries. Armed with these tactics, you hold the power to shield yourself from the detrimental effects of narcissistic manipulation. Fourthly, one of the most potent ways to rattle an ego is by radiating your own happiness. The self-centered nature of narcissists renders them unable to tolerate the success and joy of others, as it shifts focus away from themselves. By authentically embracing your own happiness and fulfillment, they will perceive that you have no inclination to indulge their insatiable craving for attention. Moreover, resist seeking validation or approval from a narcissist. Instead, channel your energy into activities and relationships that bring genuine fulfillment. Understand that narcissists are indifferent to your happiness and derive perverse pleasure from your distress. Their quest for self-gratification drives this callous behavior. Refuse to let them drag you down or snatch away your happiness. Fifthly, swiftly reject their demands without hesitation. Narcissists harbor an insatiable hunger for attention and will resort to extreme measures to remain in the spotlight. Although you might feel tempted to comply with their requests and shower them with undue attention to diffuse the tension, doing so only fuels their entitlement and reinforces their self-centered behavior. The most effective way to counter their influence is by refusing to comply, prioritizing your own needs, and disregarding their demands. Once a narcissist realizes they cannot manipulate you into fulfilling their desires, they will swiftly seek out their next target. Sixthly, pay no heed to their manipulative rhetoric. Narcissists often prioritize their own needs over the feelings of others, using hurtful words to inflict emotional pain or incite anger. It's vital to recognize that their hurtful remarks do not reflect your true worth. Instead, they twist language to deflect attention from their own faults and place blame on you. Remember your intrinsic value and steadfastly refuse to let their words chip away at your self-esteem. By denying them the satisfaction of witnessing your reaction, you bolster your resilience. Have the courage to say no without guilt. Narcissists exploit others by reveling in their control and satisfaction of personal desires. To achieve their aims, they shamelessly burden their victims with feelings of guilt, insinuating they haven't done enough to fulfill their desires. But you hold the power to defend yourself simply by uttering the word no. Refuse to be weighed down by guilt or ensnared in their manipulative schemes. Prioritize your own well-being above all else, understanding that narcissists are solely concerned with their own gratification. Number 8. Embrace authenticity unapologetically. When confronted by a narcissist seeking to undermine your self-worth, it's natural to feel provoked and inclined to offer an apology. However, apologizing only serves to empower the narcissist and perpetuate the cycle of degradation. It implies acceptance and validation of their inappropriate behavior. Never apologize for staying true to yourself, even if it momentarily discomforts you. Assert your worth and refuse to let the narcissist diminish it through disagreement. Remember, respect, love, and kindness are inherent qualities, irrespective of the narcissist's judgments. Their approval holds no sway over your intrinsic value. 9. Confrontation and accountability. Narcissists harbor an exaggerated sense of superiority, recoiling at any form of criticism, even when it's intended for their betterment. It's crucial to address how their actions impact others and establish clear boundaries. Direct, face-to-face communication is essential in holding narcissists responsible for their conduct. This approach not only mitigates the harm caused by their self-centeredness, but also encourages them to introspect and behave more conscientiously. Narcissists are adept at manipulation and adeptly deflect blame onto others or external circumstances. Asserting oneself by confronting a narcissist about their misdeeds or rudeness is crucial. Surprisingly, showering them with excessive kindness may fuel their negative behavior further, potentially leading them to avoid situations that expose their insecurities. To avoid being ensnared by a narcissist's manipulative tactics, it's essential to stay true to your principles. Establishing clear and unwavering boundaries becomes paramount, as narcissists remain impervious to the opinions of others. Despite initially presenting themselves pleasantly, be wary of potential exploitation through unwarranted demands or undeserved favors. Refuse to fall prey to their ploys. A simple no or "I'm sorry, but that's not possible" suffices. Should a narcissist persist in contacting you or seeking your company, exercising your right to cease communication or remove yourself from their presence is entirely justified. Narcissists tirelessly shield their fragile self-esteem, avoiding circumstances that could potentially undermine their carefully crafted image or subject them to criticism. Consequently, their efforts to maintain their facade rival their pursuit of societal advancement. Breaking free from a narcissist's grip may necessitate severing all ties and completely eradicating their presence from your life. Remember, establishing firm boundaries and steadfastly resisting their demands is the most potent defense against their manipulative tactics. We sincerely value your time spent watching this video. If you found it helpful, please consider leaving a comment, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement and support are immensely appreciated. Today, let's delve into the intriguing topic of how narcissism evolves with age, as we explore 7 key indicators of deteriorating behavior. But before we embark on this journey, take a moment to reflect on your own teenage and early adult years, a period characterized by growth, learning, and inevitable missteps. In stark contrast to the natural process of maturation, aging narcissists often amplify their negative traits, leading to a regression in both their personal relationships and overall life. From forsaking love to grappling with fractured relationships, these red flags serve as stark reminders of this regression. If you find this discussion enlightening, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell for future updates. Let's take a moment to reflect on our own journey before delving into the intricacies of this topic. Consider your teenage years or the onset of adulthood. Can you honestly claim to have navigated that period without a stumble or a misstep? Were you always impeccably sensitive, right and flawless in every thought, word, and deed? It's unlikely. Most of us recognize that during those formative years, we were still in flux, evolving and maturing. Moreover, scientific research tells us that the human brain doesn't reach full maturity until around the age of 25. During adolescence, it's common for individuals to exhibit selfish and demanding behaviors. However, we refrain from labeling them as narcissists because they're still in the process of development. We hold on to the hope that as they progress into adulthood and navigate life's experiences, they will cultivate virtues like kindness, honesty, respect, and compassion, a process we commonly refer to as maturation. Contrary to this trajectory, narcissists tend to exacerbate the very traits that define their narcissism as they age. Instead of evolving positively, their behavior often deteriorates over time. They become increasingly controlling, selfish, arrogant, and less attuned to the needs of others. Their defensiveness intensifies, and their distorted perception of reality becomes more entrenched. Today, we'll explore 7 telltale signs indicating a deepening selfishness, signaling a departure from emotional maturity in both personal relationships and broader contexts. As narcissism deepens with age, one of the initial indicators to watch for is the narcissist relinquishing the notion of love. Initially, they may feign care and affection, whether in intimate relationships, friendships, or within familial circles. Even in professional settings, they might exhibit a facade of camaraderie, underscoring the importance they place on maintaining favorable relationships. However, as narcissists mature, their focus shifts from nurturing bonds with others to accruing power. Their demeanor adopts a dictatorial, controlling, and authoritarian tone, treating those around them as mere subjects under their dominion. This shift underscores their inflated sense of self-importance, replacing genuine love with a domineering demeanor that reinforces their belief in entitlement. A subsequent red flag indicating the exacerbation of narcissism is the narcissist's inability to glean insights from their past mistakes and adversities. Reflecting on their history, one can discern a recurrent pattern of failed relationships. However, rather than introspecting and contemplating their role in these shortcomings, narcissists adopt a victim mentality, deflecting accountability onto external factors. They rationalize their missteps by attributing them to others' misunderstandings, disagreements, or inherent differences. This dichotomous thinking, devoid of nuance or introspection, fuels their narcissistic tendencies, leading to increased displays of contemptuous behavior, such as hurling insults and derogatory remarks at others. A conspicuous hallmark of their escalating narcissism is their reluctance to engage in self-reflection and critical analysis, particularly evident in their failure to learn from past errors. In the third indication, we observe how narcissists consistently evade acknowledgement of their shadow self. This shadow self represents the aspects of one's history fraught with mistakes, misjudgments, or unresolved traumas. It encapsulates experiences that may evoke discomfort or pain. However, narcissists typically exhibit reluctance to confront these facets of their past. Even when confronted with their shadow self, especially if it triggers feelings of anger or indignation, they adamantly refuse to engage with it. This aversion fosters inner turmoil, contributing to emotional instability and hindering their ability to foster meaningful connections with others. Their steadfast denial of the need for introspection regarding these painful aspects of themselves serves as yet another testament to the exacerbation of their narcissistic traits. The fourth indication highlighting the deepening narcissism pertains to their steadfast refusal to acknowledge their own humanity. Consequently, they meticulously craft an image of themselves characterized by superiority or flawlessness. They uphold idealized notions of self-perfection and strive to project an aura of superiority over others. Maintaining this elevated status becomes paramount to them, often at the expense of those around them. Moreover, they wholeheartedly embrace their distorted self-perceptions, firmly convinced of their inherent superiority. In essence, they internalize these delusions, steadfastly denying the possibility of standing on equal footing with others. The fifth indication pointing to the worsening state of a narcissist is their inclination to gather around themselves a cohort of subservient individuals, often referred to as their flying monkeys. They actively seek out individuals whom they perceive as easily dominated or those who unquestioningly agree with their viewpoints. A distinct characteristic of narcissists is their disdain for diversity of thought. They recoil from the notion that someone or a group might possess differing perspectives. Rather than embracing diversity as a means of intellectual enrichment and personal development, they gravitate towards those who echo their own narrow-minded views. Consequently, they stagnate in personal growth and fail to evolve, opting instead to exert control over those who share their singular mindset. This proclivity to encircle themselves with like-minded individuals, coupled with their aversion to diversity, serves as yet another unequivocal indicator of the deterioration of narcissistic traits. The sixth sign indicating a worsening state of narcissism lies in how narcissists handle the fallout of their deteriorating relationships. As the relationships inevitably crumble, they resort to self-serving rationalizations to absolve themselves of blame. They are adept at employing convoluted reasoning to justify their actions. For instance, if their mistreatment, excessive criticism, unavailability, or passive-aggressive behavior leads to a string of failed relationships, they deflect blame onto others. They might assert, "I simply chose someone who was weak," or "that person had too many insecurities and issues." By shifting responsibility in this manner, they refuse to acknowledge their own role in the breakdown of relationships. When confronted with their accountability, they swiftly deflect, insisting, "It couldn't possibly be me." They cling to certain beliefs about themselves and others, using them as justifications for their distorted perspectives. In truth, they struggle to be honest with themselves, often resorting to self-deception to uphold their distorted self-image. This inclination to rationalize failed relationships in self-serving ways serves as a glaring indication of the deepening of narcissistic traits. The seventh indicator pointing to the worsening of narcissism with age lies in their penchant for keeping others on the defensive. They've become adept at using defensive tactics as a means to assert dominance and cast themselves in the right light. They resort to accusations, shaming, and guilt-tripping to paint you as someone hiding something or burdened with numerous issues. Unlike most, they don't approach interactions with the assumption of shared humanity, a point we've already explored. They lack empathy for your human experience and instead strive to put you on the defensive. While you're busy justifying your actions or crumbling under their scrutiny, they skillfully position themselves as the superior party in the dynamic. Upon reflection, it's evident that as individuals transition from adolescence into adulthood and beyond, there's potential for personal growth and maturation. However, in the case of narcissists, not only do they fail to evolve and mature, but their narcissistic traits become deeply entrenched. A fundamental aspect of this stagnation is their refusal to disentangle themselves from maladaptive traits. Instead, they persistently shift blame onto others and evade accountability. This pattern of behavior becomes increasingly exaggerated over time, transforming them into caricatures of themselves and tragically embodying cruelty in its purest form. If you notice these behaviors, especially as you progress into adulthood or interact with individuals entering their senior years, it's important to recognize that it's not your duty to reform them. Maturity is an internal journey, and while you can share your perspectives and how their actions affect you, it's unrealistic to expect that you'll be the catalyst for change in their behavior. Moreover, don't buy into the notion that their faults are somehow your responsibility. These individuals lack fundamental empathy and are unwilling to develop deeper connections with others. Instead, they cling to an idealized self-image, refusing to confront their own shortcomings. When navigating the complexities of dealing with a worsening narcissist, a vital lesson to grasp is the significance of self-preservation. Recognizing that you can't alter someone who fails to acknowledge their behavior can spare you from considerable stress and disillusionment. Prioritize your mental well-being and inner peace above all else. Understand that it's not your responsibility to mend them. Your duty lies in safeguarding and nurturing yourself. Those whose narcissism escalates are not the pillars of reliable connection or sources of positive influence. Instead of seeking guidance or inspiration from them, focus on discerning genuine maturity. True growth transcends the illusionary and self-serving mindset characteristic of narcissists. I encourage you to remain steadfast on your path of personal evolution. Avoid expending excessive energy attempting to convince the narcissist to change, at the risk of neglecting your own growth. You wield the greatest influence over your own journey. Embrace your autonomy as a fully fledged adult, committed to continuous self-improvement. Despite encountering narcissists along the way, may your journey lead you to perpetual growth and inner tranquility.